Have you ever thought, what is the most intelligent and emotionally sharp thing in the world? A female brain, about which science had paid the least attention. During the 1970s and 80s, when Dr. Louann Brizendine was studying neuroscience, she noticed a shocking thing. Every study, by default, was focused only on the male brain. Was a woman's hormonal cycle so complex that science ignored it? Against this very bias, Dr. Brizendine herself established a clinic whose mission was to arrive at a true understanding of the female brain. After years of research and clinical experience, she wrote a path-breaking book, The Female Brain. This video will explore the insights of this book, how hormones, emotions, and culture together shape a woman's brain from childhood to old age. You will get a deep dive into hormonal intelligence, emotional decision-making, and those subtle signals that only a female brain can understand. The female brain isn't just science. It is an emotional and psychological journey, which is important for every person to understand.
Lesson 1. Fetus, baby, and child. Imagine a tiny life is growing in a mother's womb. But the most interesting thing is that for the first 8 weeks, every baby's brain is female. Yes, whether it's a boy or a girl, the starting point is the same. Then there is a hormonal twist. For babies who are male, their brain goes through a storm of testosterone, an explosion that remaps everything from their neurons to their reproductive organs. But for babies who are female, their brain and body grow under the gentle touch of estrogen, a hormone that activates their communication system, designs their emotional wiring. Magic from birth to 1 year. When a typical baby girl is born, the level of estrogen in her brain is as high as that of an adult woman. And this hormone does some amazing things. New neurons are formed in the communication centers of her brain. She deeply feels and understands facial expressions. Her brain is naturally attracted to people's faces. You must have seen how a little girl stares at someone's face for hours, as if it has a story to tell. As soon as she starts speaking, whether in words or gestures, she expects people to listen to her. She not only speaks, she also wants to be heard. Boys versus girls' early brain differences. On the other hand, a male baby has more testosterone in his brain, which results in less interest in faces, more excitement and motion, and physical exploration. That is, he will appear more active, but his emotional connection or language skill development will be comparatively slow. What happens after 1 year? When the baby grows after his first birthday, the hormones of both boys and girls become low. Physically, both look similar, but their brain structure is still different. A little girl in her toddler and tween years continuously communicates with toys, parents, friends. She views the world around her through an emotional lens and stores every little detail in her emotional memory. Her brain is like a sponge at this time, observing, understanding, and feeling everything. And then comes a big change, puberty. These years of childhood are like a safe and stable zone for her. But as soon as puberty arrives, the tsunami of hormones returns. The world changes completely for her. Everything seems extra intense. Emotions, relationships, and her own thoughts. But this is not a breakdown. It is the doorway to a new phase called adolescence.
Lesson 2. The tumultuous teens. Puberty. Think about it. A tiny life growing in a mother's womb. But the most interesting thing is that for the first 8 weeks, every baby's brain is female. Yes, whether it's a boy or a girl, the starting point is the same. Then comes a hormonal twist. The babies who will be male, their brains go through a testosterone storm, an explosion that remaps everything from their neurons to their reproductive organs. But the female babies, their brains and bodies grow in the gentle touch of estrogen, a hormone that activates their communication system and designs their emotional wiring. The magic from birth to 1 year. When a typical baby girl is born, the level of estrogen in her brain is as high as that of an adult woman. And this hormone does some amazing things. New neurons are formed in the communication centers of her brain. She deeply feels and understands facial expressions. Her mind is naturally attracted to people's faces. You must have seen
how a little girl looks at someone's face for hours, as if there's a story in it. As soon as she starts speaking, whether in words or gestures, she expects people to listen to her. She doesn't just speak, she wants to be heard. Boys versus girls' early brain differences. On the other hand, a male baby's brain has more testosterone, which results in less interest in faces, more excitement in motion and physical exploration. That is, he will appear more active, but his emotional connection or language skill development will be comparatively slow. What happens after 1 year? When a baby grows after their first birthday, the hormones in both boys and girls decrease. Physically, they look similar, but their brain structure is still different. During her toddler and tween years, a little girl continuously talks to toys, parents, friends. She sees the world around her through an emotional lens, and she keeps storing every little thing in her emotional memory. At this time, her brain is like a sponge. It absorbs, understands, and feels everything. And then comes a big change, puberty. These childhood years are like a safe and stable zone for her. But as soon as puberty arrives, the tsunami of hormones returns. For her, this world suddenly seems changed. Everything feels extra intense, emotions, relationships, and her own thoughts. But this isn't a breakdown, it's a doorway to a new phase called adolescence.
Lesson 3, Hormones and Passion. Think about it. When a young woman enters adulthood, the dance of hormones becomes even more dramatic. Her brain, which had already started to connect deeply through oxytocin and dopamine in puberty, is now even more sensitive to romance and intimacy. But this is where the confusion begins, because while the female brain finds pleasure in deep emotional bonding and communication, the male brain prefers something else entirely: action, distraction, and silence. The brain's design is different. After puberty, the female brain's communication center has fully bloomed. She is an expert at picking up emotional cues, voice tone, body language, eye expressions, everything. But in the male brain, this sensitivity decreases after puberty. Their testosterone increases, which has a direct effect on aggression, competition, and emotional withdrawal. So when a girl wants to have meaningful conversations with her partner and the boy just scrolls through his phone and says, it's not hatred, it's a neural mismatch. Hormonal highs, love or addiction. Estrogen, progesterone, oxytocin, and dopamine together create an emotional cocktail. This cocktail pushes the girl's brain to connect deeply, whether that partner is right for her or not. This is why sometimes she feels attached even to abusive or neglectful partners, because the brain expects the reward of intimacy. And when this reward stops coming, her brain faces literal withdrawal, like someone getting rid of an addiction. The effect of androgens, lust, and competition. Another hormone is silently at work here: testosterone, which is a part of the androgen group. This hormone also cycles at a low level in girls and activates their sex drive. Sometimes brings competitive behavior, especially in romantic contexts. This is the reason why sometimes a girl silently starts comparing herself to another girl, not from the heart, but from the brain through hormones. Sugar cravings and heartbreak. When there is stress or heartbreak, the brain looks for a shortcut to dopamine, and mostly that shortcut is sugar. Ice cream, chocolates, desserts, all of these give a temporary reward, but their real root is hormonal imbalance. This pattern is not limited to just teenage years, it continues in adulthood as well. The magic of the brain during love. If we were to brain scan a girl when she's on a date, her pleasure centers literally light up in a way as if her whole brain is celebrating Happy Diwali. Every conversation, every eye contact, every touch becomes a celebration, because for her, it's not just interaction, but an emotionally meaningful signal.
Lesson 4, Mated Minds. Imagine there's a girl. Her phone buzzes repeatedly. Every time a new text arrives, there's a small explosion of dopamine in her brain. But when she's in a long conversation with someone or goes on a date, this dopamine surge doubles, a kind of high. But it's not just dopamine. Another powerful hormone is at work: oxytocin, also known as the bonding hormone. Think about it. Just a 20-second hug floods your brain with oxytocin. This hormone is so powerful that just looking into someone's eyes, a light touch, or a meaningful conversation, and you start to feel emotionally attached. The next time you meet someone and just give them a warm hug, remember, you're not just developing love, but also trust. Science says that when investors were given oxytocin, they invested more money in others because their brain was saying, trust this person. So when you hug someone or feel emotionally close to someone, you start to trust them, whether they are trustworthy or not. That's the magic of oxytocin. But when a relationship becomes serious, when dating turns into a bond, these hormonal fireworks gradually start to settle down. And this transition of the female brain moves into a calm and steady zone. Like someone who was first on a roller coaster ride and is now sitting by the shore of a calm lake. This phase confuses some people. Everything was so exciting before, now everything feels normal. Is the love over? No, this is normal. Romance is still there. It's just that the extreme highs of dopamine have become a little more controlled. You might feel that what seemed cute about your partner before is now irritating. But often, partners haven't changed. It's just that your brain has started to judge them without hormonal interference. And this journey doesn't stop here. Motherhood, pregnancy, and menopause all bring new hormonal storms that repeatedly rewire the female brain, as if every phase creates a new emotional version.
Lesson 5. Mom Brain. As soon as pregnancy begins, a silent revolution starts. But this revolution isn't just inside the belly, it's happening inside the brain too. As the progesterone hormone increases, changes start to appear in the body, like swelling, fatigue, hunger, and a constant sense of discomfort. But the real game is happening in the brain. A woman who is going to be a mother feels foggy and distracted, as if a constant cloud has overshadowed her mind. Strange tiredness, increased sensitivity to smells, everything feels more intense. But all these are signals that both the body and the brain are preparing together for a new life. Here's an interesting point. When the body is growing after becoming pregnant, at that time the female brain actually shrinks. It sounds strange, but this shrinking is not a sign of any deficiency. It's a sign of the brain's hyperefficiency, like a computer increases its speed by deleting unnecessary files. Then, when childbirth happens, there's a massive oxytocin surge that completely rewires the brain in just a few hours. It's because of this hormone the mother can endure the pain, and it's also why she instantly becomes emotionally attached to the smell, sound, and mood of her baby. You must have heard a mother knows everything beforehand. That's not just instinct, it's the result of a biologically rewired brain. And when a mother is away from her child, she feels a kind of withdrawal. A protective aggression awakens within her, which we normally call the mama bear instinct. This is not an emotional overreaction, it's evolution's smart design, which puts the mother in nurture and protect mode. It is through this nurturing that children become strong, confident, and emotionally healthy. In Indian society, a mother is considered a form of a goddess, and when you look at it from a scientific perspective, it doesn't seem like an exaggeration. A mother's brain laterally becomes both a warrior and a healer, all at the same time.
Lesson 6. Menopause and rites of passage. This journey doesn't end here. Even after motherhood and maturity, the female brain starts to touch the next level of its evolution. When a woman enters the phase of menopause, her brain has become a veteran of these hormonal changes. Her critical thinking and decision-making centers have now become sharp, stable, and self-assured. She is not just a mother or a wife. She has become a clear-headed, wise woman who can confidently face every new phase. You must have heard, one day she woke up and changed her whole life. This is not a filmy line, but a hormonal reality. Around menopause, when feel-good hormones like estrogen and oxytocin start to decrease, the nurturing instinct softens a bit, and in its place comes a powerful urge for self-expression. The woman whom people used to tell to adjust now boldly says, "I matter too." The filters that used to make her soft now come off. People say, "She wasn't like this before." But in reality, this is who she always was. She has just become her true self now. After menopause, when there is no ovulation for a year, hormone levels reach a new stability, just like the calm of childhood, but with a lifetime of experience. Some women at this time experience changes in libido due to testosterone loss, but that doesn't mean that love or passion has decreased. It's just a chemical imbalance, which can be understood and treated. This entire journey, from fetus to post-menopause, is a hormonal symphony. From the outside, this phase sometimes looks like teenage drama, sometimes toxic relationships, sometimes marital struggles. But from the inside, it was a beautiful, instinctual dance of nature, which recreated the woman's brain at every stage. And when these hormonal drives finally release, a woman finally feels complete in herself, not just as a role, but as an individual. This is the stage from where she becomes a treasure for society, a mentor, a guide, a foundation whose wisdom illuminates the entire family and community.
Final summary. You've just heard a fascinating journey. The journey of the female brain, from conception to post-menopause. Author Louann Brizendine explained to us that all these emotional and behavioral shifts, which sometimes seem confusing, intense, or personal, are based not just on feelings, but on biology. Hormones like estrogen and progesterone are responsible not only for physical changes, but also for shaping the brain's structure and function. Puberty, love, motherhood, and menopause. All these phases work like a hormonal orchestra. When we understand that these changes are not against us, but rather a part of our inner nature, then we can handle our decisions more powerfully. If there is a female around you, your mother, sister, partner, or daughter, then this understanding will help you see their journey with respect and empathy. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Book Bytes AI. Here you will find even more deep and powerful book summaries that will change your perspective on thinking. And if you are curious about the perspective of the male brain, its summary will also be available to you soon right here. Book Bytes AI, where books speak and understanding grows.